My father was a guy who had a lot of struggles in his life. He battled with alcoholism and drug addiction, and he also was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. I would find myself at 13, 14 years old, going to parties with like the older kids, and I started experimenting with alcohol. And I found out real early on that alcohol, if I consumed it, it would kind of be an escape from reality, and I wouldn't have to necessarily be present or think about what was going on in the household. Once I lost my father, my addiction just took off. I found myself with absolutely no place to go, being super, super comfortable, being homeless if I had fentanyl. And that was when I kind of realized that this is not good. Nobody should ever get to a point where they feel comfortable being homeless on the streets. I was getting high and I was catching a lot of new charges, felony charges. They found me, they put me in handcuffs, and they basically said, like, we're gonna give you one chance, dude. Like, if you tell us right now that you wanna go and get help, we will give the judge a letter of recommendation, and we're gonna try and get you some help. The judge met with me the next day, said, if you wanna go to rehab, I'll let you go right now, but you gotta report to IBH. I said, okay. The judge released me, I never made it to IBH. My family, every time I called them, they would basically say, like, if you're not calling us to say, hey, I'm gonna be calling you from a treatment center, my very next call, we want nothing to do with you. I had absolutely no friends left. I had burned every bridge, and now I found myself wandering the streets with nowhere to go, nobody to call, nothing to do. I was squatting in a bush, I was getting high, and a police officer had seen me. Now I'm sitting in front of this judge again, and he's saying, whatever happened to IBH? I gave you a chance to go to IBH, and here you are again. And I was honest with him. I said, I never went. As soon as you released me, I went back to the streets. I was getting high. And he said, well, you're not doing it this time. After I detoxed and gotten through the withdrawal, I found myself sitting in jail, super, super grateful, super, super happy. I knew that I was gonna have at least a shot to have somewhere to figure out what I was gonna do with my life. And I looked at the potential of going to prison as a blessing. I really, really did. Over time, I started getting into the Word more. I started going to Bible studies. I started trying to make a decision in my heart whether or not I wanted to do what everybody else was telling me to do, and that's try to find a relationship with God. And I was having conversations with my attorney. She said, well, I have a guy who's at a place called Restore Addiction Recovery, and he's doing really, really well. And I know how much you've fallen in love with Jesus since you've been here at jail, and I've seen it literally change you physically and internally. Like, I think that you need to start praying if that's something that you would be open for, because I think I can get the judge to go along with it. And I remember looking at my attorney and telling her, there's no way the judge is gonna go for it, because the judge has already told me that there's no more grace, there's no more opportunity for me. And I remember her to this day saying, you'd be surprised at what prayer can do. Prayer can change anybody's heart, even a judge. So I remember sitting in sentencing, and the judge was kind of having a lot of sidebar conversations, which always kind of freaked me out, because I want to be able to hear what they're saying. And I remember the judge saying, Restore doesn't accept court-ordered people, so Restore is never gonna view you as a court-ordered person. But if you decide to leave, I'm telling you right now that we'll find you and you'll be going to prison. This is, like I said, your last shot at grace. I told you before that you were no longer gonna have an opportunity for grace. He was like, I've had to change a heart. And the moment he said change a heart, I looked at my attorney, and she was already sitting there smiling at me, nodding her head. The moment I walked into Restore, I went from darkness to light. And I fell in love with the gospel. I fell in love with who Jesus was, why he came. I fell in love with getting to know the guy's stories. I fell in love with kind of having those one-on-one moments with counselors and staff, and kind of just getting close to them and building a bond. And it put me in a season of my life to where over the last 12 months, I've had so many moments to where I've questioned things in my life, and God has always given me an answer. They don't force you to have a relationship with God. You know what I mean? They don't. You can come into here and proclaim that you don't believe in God, and you're still gonna get the same happy welcome that you're gonna get if you say, hey, I love Jesus, I have a problem with drugs and alcohol, but I wanna come there. You're gonna get the same sort of respect and kindness. Restore loves everybody. They love Jesus, they love to show you what Jesus can do in your life, and they're super, super patient. This place will literally address every single one of your needs. If you have an alcohol problem, a drug problem, like this is the place to come and get the help that you need. Restore gave me a place where I can come back into God's grace and His love and accept it. And I'm truly grateful for that, I really am.